All right, in this particular lesson, you have evolved, instead of the variables being on one side of the equation and combining them there, now your job is to take the variables that are on both sides of the equation and get them on the same side. So that's the number one rule, is get the variable on the same side. When you have these types of problems, that's your goal. To do that, it's very simple. You're either going to be adding or subtracting that entire term, okay? So what I mean by that is, if you take 3x and you subtract 3x, that's 0. And that's your goal, is to get that gone and put onto the other side. So what do I mean by that? Well, let's follow the steps. So take a look at number 39. You can see that there are variables 2x and negative 3x on two sides of the equation. We want it to be on the same side. So ultimately, what I'm going to teach you is to always take the right-hand variable, the right side of the equation, and put it on the left. Now, this doesn't have to be this way. You don't always have to do it this way, but just for some consistency, that's how I'm going to teach you. All right, so the first goal is to put that negative 3x and get it on the other side. If I want it on the other side, I'm basically going to do the opposite. Now, I recognize that's negative 3 times x, and you might be forgetting or reverting back to your original rules. This is a whole new set of problems where we're going to have to add 3x. What I really want you to see is my goal is to get it over to here. So what do I do to one side, I do to the other. But what you need to recognize is negative 3x plus 3x cancels. Okay, that was our goal, to move it. And we did that by putting it on both sides of the equation. Now we have a problem where we say 2x plus 3x is equal to 5x. We bring down everything else, and our problem is now a two-step equation. All right, we successfully put the variable on the right side onto the left by either adding and subtracting. In this case, we added because it was a negative, so we get the opposite of negative, which was positive or plus, same thing. All right, now we can solve, and I'll do this fairly quickly since we were used to this. We're going to add 8 to both sides to get rid of the addition or subtraction first. Okay, these cancel. You bring down the 5x, and you get 0 over here, because negative 8 plus a positive 8 is 0. Now you're going to divide, and you're going to get x is equal to 0. Okay, and that's your answer for number 39. All right, I'll show you again on number 40 how this is done. Remember, we're going to take the right-hand x, that negative 3x right here, and we're going to take it and move it. To move it, we have to do the opposite, which is plus 3x. What we do to one side, we do to the other. So in this case, our whole goal was to move it from the right, get it out of there, and put it on the left. So now you have negative 7x plus 3x. You're just going to follow your integer rules. Negative 7 plus 3 is negative 4. The x is going to come along for the ride. All right, there's nothing you do with that. You just bring it straight down. So now you have negative 2 minus 4x equals negative 14. Okay, you're now back to a two-step equation in which you need to recognize what to get rid of first, and that's the minus 2 or the negative 2, however you want to read it. We're not getting rid of the 4 just yet because that's the multiplication part. So we're going to get rid of the minus 2 by adding 2 to both sides, bringing down the other part. These canceled. All right. Negative 14 plus positive 2 is negative 12. Now we're going to get rid of that negative 4 by dividing by negative 4. Many times kids will add 4. That's not negative 4 and an x. That's negative 4 times x. To get rid of times, we must divide. So now we're left with x equals positive 3 because the two negatives will cancel. Negative 12 divided by negative 4 is a positive 3. Those negatives cancel. All right, so that's how you do variables on both sides of the equation. You take it from the right by adding it or subtracting it and moving it to the left. The right sides cancel, and then you're left with a two-step equation. All right, so that's how variables on both sides is done.